Introduction: the startup landscape. The modern economy hums with an insistent energy, driven by ambition and the relentless pursuit of the next big idea. At the heart of this dynamism lies the startup. More than just a new business, a startup is an organization actively searching for a repeatable and scalable business model. They are the crucibles where innovation is forged, often disrupting established industries and creating entirely new ones. Think of ride-sharing apps, streaming services, or the very platform you're watching this on all began as startups, small teams with a big vision, operating under immense uncertainty. This landscape is characterized by its high stakes. Venture capital pours billions into these nascent companies, betting on exponential growth. Yet, for every unicorn, thousands falter. The path for a brilliant concept to sustainable enterprise is fraught with challenges, from securing early funding to navigating market fit, scaling operations, and fending off competitors. It demands relentless adaptation, audacious risk-taking, and a touch of serendipity. Why does this intense, often brutal, environment continue to attract so many? It's the promise of impact, the chance to build something truly transformative, and yes, the potential for extraordinary wealth. But behind the success stories are complex systems of capital, talent, and strategic decisions that rarely make the headlines. Understanding the startup world means looking beyond the dazzling launches and the occasional spectacular implosions to grasp the fundamental mechanics that propel some forward, while leaving others behind. SaaS, subscription software. In the past, owning software meant buying a physical disk or a license key, installing it on your computer, and hoping it remained compatible as technology changed. This was the traditional model, a one-time purchase granting you perpetual rights to that specific version. Updates often meant buying an entirely new product. Then came software as a service, or SaaS, a fundamental shift in how we acquire and use digital tools. Instead of buying software, you subscribe to it. Think of it like renting. You pay a recurring fee, monthly or annually, to access the service, which is hosted entirely online. You don't install anything onto your machine beyond perhaps a small client application. The heavy lifting happens on the provider's remote servers. All you need is an internet connection and a web browser or a dedicated app. This model brings a host of immediate advantages. Users get instant access to the latest features and security updates without manual downloads or installations. The burden of maintenance, server management, and bug fixes falls squarely on the service provider. For businesses, this translates to lower upfront costs, easier scalability, and the ability to work from virtually any device, anywhere in the world. For consumers, services like Microsoft 365 or Adobe Creative Cloud illustrate this convenience, bringing a suite of powerful tools on an ongoing basis. This shift isn't just about convenience, it fundamentally alters the relationship between user and software, transforming a single transaction into a continuous digital partnership. Marketplace, network effects. Imagine a world where telephones only connected to a handful of people. Its value would be minimal. But as more homes acquired a phone, its utility exploded. This isn't just about more users, it's about exponential growth in potential connections and thus, value. This phenomenon is what we call a network effect. Simply put, a product or service exhibits a network effect when its value for each user increases as more people use it. Think about social media. A platform with 5 users offers little, one with 1 billion becomes indispensable for staying connected. This is a direct network effect. The benefit directly comes from more people being on the same network. But network effects aren't always so straightforward. Consider an online marketplace like eBay. Most sellers attract more buyers, who in turn attract even more sellers seeking a larger customer base. This creates a powerful self-reinforcing loop, known as an indirect network effect or two-sided market. The same principle applies to ride-sharing apps. More drivers mean shorter wait times, which attracts more riders, drawing in even more drivers. These systems often start slowly, building momentum until they reach a tipping point. Once that critical mass is achieved, growth can become explosive, rapidly consolidating power. Companies that successfully harness these effects often establish dominant market positions, making it incredibly difficult for new competitors to gain a foothold. Understanding this dynamic reveals why some digital platforms become ubiquitous, shaping entire industries and our daily interactions. Freemium, free-to-paid models. Imagine you get to try something truly useful entirely for free. You use it, you grow dependent on it, and then, to unlock its full power, you're offered an upgrade. This isn't charity, it's a calculated business model known as freemium. The term, a blend of free and premium, describes a strategy where companies offer a core product or service without charge, aiming to convert a portion of those free users into paying subscribers for enhanced features or an ad-free experience. The genius lies in its low barrier to entry. Potential customers can experience the value firsthand, building trust and familiarity without any financial commitment. This approach dramatically increases user acquisition, pulling in millions who might otherwise hesitate to pay upfront. The free tier often includes essential functions, enough to make the product useful, even indispensable. But crucially, it also carries deliberate limitations. Perhaps it's restricted storage, fewer advanced tools, or the presence of advertisement. These limitations act as gentle nudges, creating pain points that the premium version solves. Consider services like Dropbox or Spotify. You can store files or stream music for free, but paying unlocks more space, offline access, or an uninterrupted listening experience. The company isn't just selling features, it's selling convenience, efficiency, or a superior experience once you're already deeply integrated into their ecosystem. The goal is to make the jump from free to paid feel less like a purchase and more like an essential upgrade to something you already value. It is a powerful psychological play, transforming a free user into someone who perceives an investment, not just in the product, but in their own productivity or enjoyment. This model constantly evolves, pushing companies to balance generosity with profitability, making us question where the line between free and essential truly lies. Advertising, attention monetization. Attention is the rarest and most valuable commodity in the modern world. For advertisers, it is the ultimate prize. They aren't simply selling products or services, they are, in essence, buying your focus. Every billboard, every television commercial, every banner ad on a webpage functions as a bid for a sliver of your conscious thought. This fundamental exchange began long before the internet. Newspapers sold pages to companies, knowing readers would see the ads. Radio and television sold time slots, knowing millions would tune in. The model was straightforward: gather an audience, then offer that audience as attention to those willing to pay. Today, the landscape has fragmented, making attention even more elusive and precious. Our digital lives are a constant stream of information, each notification and headline competing for our limited mental bandwidth. Advertisers now employ sophisticated algorithms and vast datasets to predict where your gaze might land next, attempting to precisely place their messages in a fleeting moment. They meticulously track every click, every view, every scroll, transforming these small acts of engagement into measurable value. The goal is not just to be seen, but to be noticed, to break through the noise. It is a relentless, data-driven war for your mindshare. Understanding this dynamic reveals the true engine of the advertising industry, the skillful, relentless monetization of our collective attention span. E-commerce, direct sales, forget the retail stores, the distributors, the wholesalers. When a business engages in direct sales online, they establish a direct line to their customer. This direct-to-consumer, or D2C, model bypasses traditional retail channels entirely. Instead of selling products through marketplaces or brick-and-mortar partners, companies sell directly from their own website, often managing the entire sales funnel from initial marketing to final delivery. This approach offers significant advantages. Brands gain complete control over their messaging, their customer experience, and their pricing. There is no third-party commission eating into profits, meaning higher margins can translate into better product development, more competitive prices, or increased marketing budgets. Crucially, direct sales provide an invaluable stream of first-party data. Every click, every purchase, every interaction on their platform offers insights into customer behavior, preferences, and pain points. This data empowers companies to personalize offers, refine products, and build stronger, more loyal customer relationships over time. However, this control comes with responsibilities. A D2C brand must handle all aspects that were once delegated: website development, digital marketing, inventory management, order fulfillment, shipping logistics, and comprehensive customer support. The success of a direct sales operation hinges on efficient infrastructure and a deep understanding of the online customer journey. The brand isn't just selling a product, it is building an entire ecosystem around it. The question then becomes, how effectively can a company manage every piece of this intricate puzzle to turn a visitor into a repeat buyer? Transaction fees, intermediary revenue. Every time we move money, whether buying groceries or sending funds across borders, a small deduction often occurs. This isn't random, it's a transaction fee, and it represents the revenue stream for the intermediaries making that movement possible. When you swipe a credit card, for example, a bank, a card network like Visa or MasterCard, and a payment processor all play crucial roles. They verify your identity, ensure sufficient funds, encrypt sensitive data, and ultimately transfer the money from your account to the merchant desk. Each step demands complex infrastructure, advanced technology, and constant monitoring. These intermediaries shoulder significant operational costs, invest heavily in cybersecurity, and absorb risks like fraud or system failures. Their fees, sometimes a percentage of the transaction, sometimes a flat rate, compensate them for these essential services. Without them, the instantaneous, secure exchanges we now take for granted would simply not exist. Imagine trying to directly pay a store in another city without a bank, or buying stock without a brokerage and an exchange. The complexity, the lack of immediate trust, the sheer logistical nightmare makes modern commerce impossible for most. These entities act as the indispensable third parties, bridging gaps and enabling economically on a global scale. Their business model isn't just about moving money, it's about providing the invisible rails our entire financial system runs on, turning what would be friction into a seamless, monetized service that underpins our economy. This model, while pervasive, isn't without its own set of questions about efficiency and access. Usage-based, pay-per-use. Imagine a world where you only pay for what you actually use. This isn't a futuristic fantasy, it's the core principle behind usage-based models, often known as pay-per-use. Instead of a flat subscription fee or a one-time purchase, your cost directly reflects your consumption. Think of your home electricity bill. You are charged for each kilowatt hour of power you consume, not a fixed monthly rate regardless of how many lights you leave on. This approach flips the traditional pricing script. Rather than predicting your needs and committing to a bundled service, pay-per-use systems monitor real-time activity. Consider your mobile phone plan. Many now offer a pay-as-you-go option for data, charging you only for the gigabytes you download. Ride-sharing apps are another prime example. You pay per trip, based on distance and time, not a weekly subscription for unlimited travel. Cloud computing services also operate this way, billing businesses for the specific storage, processing power, or bandwidth their applications demand. The appeal is clear: fairness and efficiency. Low-volume users avoid subsidizing heavier consumers, paying only for the actual footprint. Businesses gain significant flexibility, scaling their costs up or down precisely with their operational needs. It eliminates wasted expenditure on unused capacity or features. However, this model also shifts the burden of monitoring. Consumers must track their own usage to avoid unexpected spikes in spending, requiring a different kind of financial awareness. Understanding this balance becomes crucial in a world increasingly adopting these models. Data licensing, information value. We often talk about data as the new oil, but unlike a finite resource, data can be used multiple times, by multiple parties, without depletion. This reusability is central to its economic power, and it is why data licensing has become such a critical component of the digital economy. Companies and organizations pay not for the raw data itself, but for the refined insight it offers. Consider how simple demographic dataset transforms when combined with purchasing habits. Separately, they offer limited insight. Together, they paint a precise picture of consumer behavior. Companies are willing to pay significant sums for this combined intelligence because it allows them to target advertising, personalize experiences, or even predict market trends with remarkable accuracy. The true value isn't just in the raw byte, it is in the asterisk information asterisk derived from those bytes, and more specifically, the asterisk actionable intelligence asterisk it provides. A raw list of names and addresses holds some value. A list of names and addresses, paired with the likelihood to buy a specific product within the next 3 months, holds far more. This enriched, refined data is what vendors license. Licensing agreements define who can access this intelligence, for how long, and for what purpose. They are the frameworks that monetize insight. Without them, the vast datasets collected by platforms and businesses would remain locked silos, or worse, freely exploited, diminishing the incentive to collect and refine valuable information in the first place. This creates a complex ecosystem: the collector, the refiner, and the end user, all participating in a market where the price of information isn't fixed, but rather, dynamically valued on its potential to drive outcomes. The question then becomes, who truly owns the insights derived from your digital footprint? And what price are we, as a society, willing to pay for its distribution? Hardware as a service HaaS. For decades, acquiring technology meant a significant upfront investment. Businesses bought servers, laptops, and networking gear, owning them outright, then shouldering the cost of maintenance, upgrades, and eventual disposal. This traditional model, heavy on capital expenditure, often tied up budgets and diverted focus from core business activities. Now, a different paradigm gains traction: hardware as a service, or HaaS. Imagine your entire IT infrastructure not as a collection of assets you own, but as a utility you subscribe to, much like electricity or internet access. Under HaaS, a specialized vendor provides the physical hardware, installs it, maintains it, and even handles upgrades and end-of-life replacement, all for a predictable monthly fee. This shift fundamentally transforms IT from a capital expense to an operational one. Companies avoid large initial outlays, freeing up capital for other strategic priorities. They gain access to the latest technology without the burden of rapid depreciation or forced obsolescence. When a device fails, the provider replaces it, often proactively. When business needs change, the service scales up or down with remarkable agility, offering flexibility that traditional ownership struggles to match. From individual workstations to enterprise-level data centers and specialized manufacturing equipment, HaaS models streamline operations and reduce the in-house expertise required to manage complex systems. This approach redefines how organizations access and utilize the essential tools of the digital age, compelling us to reconsider the very nature of technological ownership. Licensing IP, proprietary models. When a company develops intellectual property, a patented design, a unique software algorithm, or a famous brand name, they frequently employ a proprietary model for licensing it. This approach moves beyond simply collecting a fee. It's fundamentally about maintaining stringent control over how that IP is used, modified, and distributed in the marketplace. Under a proprietary license, the agreement's terms are meticulously defined. Consider a software developer. They might grant a licensee permission to install their program on a fixed number of devices, or strictly limit its deployment to internal business operations within a specific region. Similarly, a pharmaceutical company holding a patent for a breakthrough drug compound might license its production to another manufacturer. However, they would dictate precise production protocols, quality assurance measures, and even distribution channels. This strategy safeguards product consistency and protects the integrity of their brand. The licensor, in essence, retains full ownership, defining the scope, duration, and even the geographic boundaries of the agreement. They impose clear restrictions on modifications, reverse engineering, or any form of sub-licensing, all designed to secure their core asset and preserve a competitive advantage. For the licensee, entering such an arrangement means strict adherence to these established rules. They gain access to powerful technology or established brand equity, but only within a tightly constructed framework. Failure to comply can lead to significant repercussions, including contract termination and legal claims for infringement. These proprietary models enable innovators to monetize their creations effectively while preventing unauthorized adaptation or dilution of their original work. They fundamentally shape entire sectors, from operating systems that run our devices to the consumer goods filling our shelves, by carefully managing access to foundational innovations. The clear power dynamic in these agreements, where the creator dictates the terms, profoundly influences market entry and the future trajectory of countless businesses worldwide. The future, evolving models, the rigid structures that once defined our world are giving way. For decades, industries operated on predictable cycles, work happened in fixed locations, and consumers accepted standardized offerings. This era, while productive, built systems that often prioritized efficiency over adaptability. Today, the ground has shifted dramatically. Digital natives and global connectivity dissolve geographical barriers, while the sheer pace of technological advancement continuously reshapes what is possible and what society expects. We see this evolution in almost every sector. The traditional employment model, a full-time commitment to a single corporation, now competes with an explosion of freelance platforms, project-based contracts, and entirely remote teams. This isn't just a trend, it's a fundamental reevaluation of how value is created and exchanged. Ownership itself transforms, with access often trumping possession through subscription services and shared economies that prioritize utility over permanence. Even urban planning rethinks its grid, favoring mixed-use developments and flexible public spaces over strictly zoned districts. These emerging models share a common thread. They emphasize resilience, distributed networks, and a capacity for constant revision. They don't just react to change, they are designed to anticipate and incorporate it, moving away from monolithic designs towards modular, interconnected components. Building a future means designing systems less like concrete foundations and more like living organisms, capable of growing, pruning, and redirecting resources as needs evolve. The challenge lies in creating frameworks robust enough to support innovation, yet fluid enough to avoid obsolescence, systems that can gracefully pivot when the next disruption arrives. The next phase won't simply tweak old blueprints. It demands entirely new architectures for how we work, govern, and interact. We are learning to build for perpetual evolution.